Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into the world of honeybees.
Such fascinating creatures.
They are. Most people think of honey right away.
Of course. That's their claim to fame, I suppose.
Yeah, but there's so much more to these little guys than just honey.
Absolutely. Their impact goes way beyond that golden nectar.
So let's start there with the honey.
Okay.
Everyone knows bees make it, but what makes them so essential?
Well, without honeybees, our diets would be incredibly boring.
Seriously.
Yeah, they're pollination superstars.
Pollination.
It's how plants reproduce, making fruits, vegetables, all that good stuff.
Right.
And honeybees are like the champions of that whole process.
Like nature's matchmakers.
Yeah, you could say that. They go from flower to flower carrying pollen on their fuzzy little bodies.
And that's what allows the plants to create seeds and fruits and all that.
Exactly. It's essential for a huge part of our food supply.
How much are we talking here?
About 1/3 of the food we eat depends on honeybees.
Wow. Okay, so no coffee, no strawberries, no almonds.
Pretty much. It would be a very different grocery store.
So it's not JST about the honey. It's about the entire foundation of our food system.
You got it. And their impact extends beyond just agriculture, too.
Oh, really?
They're vital for biodiversity and all kinds of ecosystems.
Like forests and meadows.
Exactly. Their pollination supports this huge web of life from tiny insects to larger animals.
It's amazing how these little creatures are connected to so much.
They are, and we haven't even touched on their economic power yet.
Oh, right. I was just thinking about that. Honeybees bring in some serious cash.
Billions of dollars globally each year.
Wow. All thanks to their pollination work.
Yep. Without them, we'd have to rely on artificial pollination, which is way less efficient and much more expensive.
So honeybees are keeping our food affordable and abundant.
Basically, they're essential for global food security.
Okay, so we've covered how important they are, but are honeybee populations doing well, or are they facing challenges?
That's a great question, and unfortunately, it's not all good news.
Oh no.
There are some serious threats they're facing, collectively known as colony collapse disorder.
I've heard of that. Isn't that where the worker bees just vanish?
Exactly. It's a devastating phenomenon that leaves the colonies struggling to survive.
So what's causing this colony collapse disorder?
There are a few main culprits. One major factor is habitat loss.
Habitat loss.
As cities grow and forests are cleared for agriculture, honeybees are losing their homes and food sources.
So like their houses and supermarkets are disappearing.
Yeah, it's a tough situation for them.
Makes sense. So is that the only threat?
No, another big one is pesticide use.
Pesticides. But aren't those meant to protect crops?
They are, but some of them, especially a group called neonicotinoids, are super harmful to bees.
What do they do to them?
Even small doses can mess with their foraging, navigation, and reproduction. It weakens entire colonies.
Oh wow, so the chemicals we use to protect crops are actually harming the very creatures that help those crops grow.
Yeah, it's a big problem that highlights the need for more sustainable farming practices.
Okay, so we've got habitat loss and pesticides. What else?
Climate change is another major challenge. It's disrupting the delicate balance between honeybees and the plants they depend on.
In what way?
Well, as temperatures rise and weather patterns shift, it throws off the timing of when plants bloom.
So it's not just about having enough flowers, it's about them blooming at the right time for the bees.
Exactly. Imagine showing up to your favorite restaurant only to find it closed. It's kind of like that for the bees.
I see climate change is really messing with their food supply.
It is. And to make matters worse, honeybees are also vulnerable to diseases and parasites.
Like what?
The varroa mite is a big one. These tiny mites attach themselves to bees, weakening them and spreading viruses.
Sounds nasty.
It is. It can devastate entire colonies.
So we've got habitat loss, pesticides, climate change, and diseases. It sounds like a pretty uphill battle for these little bees.
It is. But the good news is there are things we can do to help.
Okay, now you're talking. What can we do?
One of the simplest things is planting bee-friendly gardens with native wildflowers, herbs, and flowering trees.
So we can provide them with more food sources.
Exactly. And choosing organic produce at the store helps reduce the demand for harmful pesticides.
Makes sense. So our shopping habits can actually make a difference.
Absolutely. And supporting farms that practice things like crop rotation and cover cropping can create more bee-friendly environments.
So many ways to get involved. What about on a larger scale? Can policy changes help?
Definitely. Advocating for policies that protect bee habitats and restrict harmful pesticides can have a huge impact.
So our voices and actions can really make a difference for honeybees.
They can. It's all about raising awareness and taking action. Even small steps can add up to big change.
This has been incredibly eye-opening. I'm starting to see honeybees in a whole new light.
They're truly amazing creatures.
They are, and I'm eager to learn even more.
Well, then let's dive into the fascinating world of honeybee societies and their remarkable honey-making abilities.
Sounds like a plan.
Welcome back. We just scratched the surface of the amazing honeybee world.
I know, right? It's incredible how much impact these little creatures have.
And their world is even more complex than we've touched on so far.
Like what?
Well, their social structures and behaviors are fascinating.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. What's so special about a honeybee colony?
A honeybee colony is like a miniature city. Each bee has a specific job, and they all work together seamlessly.
It's not just a bunch of bees buzzing around randomly.
Nope. There's a very clear hierarchy and division of labor.
So tell me more. Who are the key players in this bee city?
Well, at the top, you've got the queen bee.
The queen, what does she do?
She's the only female who lays eggs. So basically, she's the mother of the entire colony.
Wow, that's a big responsibility. What about the other bees?
Then you've got the worker bees.
Worker bees.
They're all females too, and they do pretty much everything else.
Like what?
Collecting nectar and pollen, building and maintaining the hive, caring for the young, defending the colony, you name it, they do it.
Wow, they're like the ultimate multitaskers.
They are. And then you have the drones.
Drones, what are those?
Those are the males.
Yeah.
And their primary purpose is to mate with the queen.
Okay, so the queen lays the eggs, the workers do all the work, and the drones meet with the queen. Got it.
Exactly. It's a fascinating system that's evolved over millions of years.
But how do they all communicate with each other? Do they have tiny bee meetings or something?
Haha, not quite. They communicate through an incredible combination of dances and chemical signals.
Dances. Seriously.
Yep. The most famous one is called the Waggle dance. It's how forager bees tell their sisters where to find the best sources of nectar and pollen.
No way. A dance that tells them where to find food.
Yep. It's like a map encoded in their movements.
That's insane. How does it work?
So imagine a scout bee finds a great patch of wildflowers. She comes back to the hive and starts doing this figure-8 dance, waggling her abdomen.
Waggling her what?
Her abdomen. Her little bee butt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that tells the other bees where to find the flowers.
Exactly. The angle of her waggle in relation to the sun tells them the direction.
Wow.
And the duration of the waggle tells them the distance.
So it's like a super precise GPS system.
It really is. It's incredible how they can communicate such complex information through dance.
My mind is officially blown. And you said something about chemical signals too.
Right. They also use pheromones.
Pheromones.
They're chemical substances that trigger specific behaviors in other bees.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Well, the queen bee emits pheromones that keep the colony unified and working together.
So it's like a chemical message that says, hey, everyone, let's stay focused and keep this colony running smoothly.
Exactly. It's fascinating how they've evolved these complex communication systems.
It really is. Honeybees are officially way cooler than I ever thought.
They are, and we're still learning new things about them all the time.
Okay, so we've covered their vital role in the ecosystem, the threats they face, and now their incredible social structures and communication skills.
It's quite a resume.
It is. But with all the challenges they're facing, what does the future hold for honeybees?
That's the big question. And while the threats are serious, there's a growing movement to protect them.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Are there any new solutions or technologies being developed that could really help?
Absolutely. Scientists are working on some fascinating things.
Tell me everything.
Well, one area of research is focused on breeding bees that are more resistant to diseases and parasites like that varroa mite we talked about.
So like super bees?
Kind of. Imagine bees with their own built-in defenses.
That would be amazing. What else?
Researchers are also exploring ways to improve bee nutrition and boost their immune systems.
How do they do that?
One approach involves developing special probiotics for bees, kind of like the probiotics people take for gut health.
Probiotics for bees. Love it. Anything else?
Technology is playing a role too. They're developing hives equipped with sensors that monitor bee health and behavior in real time.
High-tech beehives. That's awesome.
It is. This technology can alert beekeepers to potential problems early on, giving them a chance to intervene before a colony collapses.
That's incredible. So there's hope for the future of honeybees.
There is. The more we learn about these fascinating creatures, the more we can do to protect them.
I'm definitely feeling more optimistic now. And it's inspiring to see so many people working to help these tiny but mighty creatures.
It's a global effort, and remember, everyone has a role to play.
Absolutely. Even small actions like planting bee-friendly flowers or buying local honey can make a difference.
It all adds up.
Okay, so we've covered their vital role in the ecosystem, the threats they face, some amazing solutions to protect them, and their incredibly complex societies.
We've covered a lot.
We have. But I have to ask, with all this talk about bees and their hard work, what about the sweet reward of their labor?
The honey.
Exactly. It's time to dive into the fascinating world of honey production.
It's a story that's as sweet as the honey itself.
Let's do it. Okay, let's talk honey. I have to admit, I don't really know how it's made.
It's a pretty amazing process. Really shows how clever these bees are.
So how does it all work? How do they turn nectar into that golden goodness?
Well, it all starts with those forager bees we talked about. They go out and collect nectar from the flowers, and they store it in a special honey sac inside their bodies.
Like a little nectar backpack.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you could say that. Then they fly back to the hive and pass the nectar off to other worker bees.
So it's a team effort from the start.
It is. And back at the hive, the real magic happens.
What happens?
The worker bees chew the nectar, adding enzymes that break down the complex sugars.
So they're basically pre-digesting it.
Exactly. It makes it easier to process. Then they deposit this processed nectar into the honeycomb cells.
Okay, but how does it turn into that thick, syrupy honey we know and love?
That's the cool part. To get rid of excess water, they fan their wings over the honeycomb.
They're fanning it.
Yep. Creating airflow that evaporates the moisture.
Wow. It's like a tiny bee-powered dehumidifier.
Pretty much. It's incredible how they've figured this all out.
I know. Makes you appreciate every drop.
And once the honey reaches the right consistency, they seal the honeycomb cells with wax.
Those little golden caps.
Yep. They're like little storage containers.
It's amazing how much work goes into making honey. From flower to honeycomb, that whole journey.
It is. And the result is not just delicious, it's actually really good for you, too.
Oh yeah, honey's great for sore throats, right?
It is. It's got natural antibacterial and antifungal properties.
No kidding. So it can help with more than just cough.
Definitely. It's good for wound healing, skin irritations. It's even packed with antioxidants and can boost your immune system.
Wow, honey really is a superfood.
It is. A gift from nature and those amazing honeybees.
I know. I'm definitely going to look at honey in a whole new light now.
I think we all are after this deep dive.
We've learned so much about the importance of honeybees, the threats they face, and the amazing ways people are working to protect them.
And we got to explore the incredible world of honey production, too.
I know it's been fascinating. I don't think I'll ever look at a bee or a jar of honey the same way again.
I hope you won't. They're truly remarkable creatures that deserve our respect and protection.
Couldn't agree more. It's been a pleasure diving into the world of honeybees with you today.
The pleasure was all mine.
And to all our listeners out there, we hope you learned something new today and that you'll consider taking action to help these vital pollinators. Whether it's planting bee-friendly flowers, supporting local beekeepers, or advocating for policies that protect them, every little bit helps.
Absolutely. Remember, the future of honeybees is intertwined with our own. So let's all do our part to keep these amazing creatures buzzing for generations to come.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of honeybees. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.